city which is protected by water, fortified with troops. It's modeled after Pittsburgh. There's only one building occupied in the whole downtown area.
There's nothing there, man.
The protagonists have to go out to bring in supplies. They have to go out every day into the world which is basically inhabited by zombies.
Zombies, man. They creep me out. He knows we're here.
George Romero. He's been called the father of the zombie film and the father of the modern horror genre. More importantly, I think, he's one of the key inspirational figures in the independent film movement in this country. Tom Savini. He's the Salvador Dali of makeup artists, as much at home in front of the camera as he is behind it. He came to prominence 27 years ago in a breakthrough display of special makeup in the film Dawn of the Dead, the second of what is now George Romero's zombie quartet. I'm Roy Frumkes. I was a zombie already in Dawn, while I was capturing that production for posterity in my own film Document of the Dead. Tom Savini made me into a living work of art. What an honor. Which was completely obliterated several seconds later by a cream pie. At least the occasion lives on, in celluloid and on DVD. Savini's appearance in George's fourth zombie installment, Land of the Dead, is precedent-setting. He's the first character in the series ever to reprise a role, that of the biker marauder whose gang pummeled me all those years ago. Only now Savini's on the other side. He's become one of the living dead.
You know, I'm in hell. I'm in living hell.
In allowing this reprised appearance, Romero has created an historic moment in cinema history, because it's not just anyone, it's Tom. Tom and George together again. I don't know whether most of his cast or crew realized what was really happening, but hundreds of thousands of fans certainly will. It was a euphoric experience to be back on the set with George for 2 days, culminating on the second night with Tom's cameo.
Let's say when they discover me, that if there was something long and trailing from my foot, that I've seen it and now and I can't get it. It's like a cat chasing his tail. Yeah. You know, and I've been doing this for like a year and a half, you know. See, that's the fun of working with George. You suggest these things and he might say, great. I mean, when we did Dawn of the Dead, George said, you know, the same thing he's saying to Greg now. Think of ways to kill people, you know. Think of some gags. You know, and Greg is coming up with them, and he's out there shooting them, which is the same thing we did on Dawn.
Whose idea was it that you reprised the character from Dawn?
I think it evolved. Greg and I were talking. Actually, I was at George's house. We were recording the DVD commentary for Martin, okay? And George said, I want you to do something, this thing in Land of the Dead. You know, George, in all the Dead movies, has never repeated a character. This is the first time. And he even said when I was up here a couple of weeks ago, you know, I wasn't going to do it. I just thought it was a terrible idea. But now it's sort of a nod to the original Dawn of the Dead film. So I'm the homage zombie. I'm the nod zombie. So how I am, that's what we were just talking about. What's the gag? How do you discover me? How, you know, even if they just pan and there I am. Yay, okay, good, move on. You know, that might be enough, you know, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to go in here. This is the Superman thing. See ya.
Apple 50 Bravo, take one.
That car drove out of town 3 years ago.
No, I bought one. It was right here yesterday. Parked right here with 2 guys working on it. Where is my car?
There's nobody here this morning. You got fucked.
Ah, beauty. All right. One safety, we got it.
One more?
Yeah, let's get a safety on it and
One more, please. That car drove out of this town 3 years ago.
No, I bought a car. It was right there yesterday.
There was nobody here this morning.
Oh, son of a bitch.
What happened, Riley? Did you get fucked?
Come with me.
You got fucked. You got fucked.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Have got you.
Checking the gate.
We won't point a finger on that one.
Voila. 25 years ago, I looked like this. A little change. Been walking around as a zombie for about a year and a half.
Wouldn't be the right look without the gold earring.
And I'll be holding, oh yes, and I'll be holding a machete. Look at that. They got the trucks. They're moving the trucks.
I was just going to tell you, I saw the film.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a good print yet.
Huh.
We did this little, I did a reel for Cannes and the first 14 minutes. But,
Right.
I enjoy the collaboration of others, and I think it's the best way to make a film. I'm not like a tyrant or insisting on this or, Christ, this ashtray, this is the wrong ashtray for this scene. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And it's a collaborative medium, and you really need to you need to let people contribute. And I think that very often, those contributions are either rejected or not welcome or something. And man,
George wants to have a family atmosphere on every one of his films, and that is what he wants. He can't stand tensions. This is for real, and he can't stand political problems, which is, I think, one of the main reasons he doesn't want to deal with Hollywood.
I didn't know what to expect, talented people are usually really cool and mellow and happening, but you never know, he might be a tyrant, And he ended up being cool and all the things that I expected somebody of greatness to have. He's easy to work with, very collaborative, has always that extra take on scenes when you're doing what you do best, but there's always a little extra thing that he comes up with that really puts a spin on it. And all of a sudden you find yourself going, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. That could be a nice little twist to what I'm doing. And he does that.
it's not the minute-by-minute stuff that takes it out of you. It's the overall situation. And it's not the cold or the conditions or anything else. It's just, are you getting what you want? And that's really what bugs me. I mean, I could stand there in colder temperatures for more nights if everything was coming off well. And, it's hard. I mean, people say, well, geez, you finally had a big budget for a zombie movie. And we didn't. I mean, the budget on this film was like, 2/3 of the budget for like the remake of Dawn. And so it was still guerrilla stuff. And we barely met. I mean, we just got the 42 days, that were originally scheduled. There was no extra time. It was whap, 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 whap. And it was constantly with the wolf at the door. The wolf was biting at your ass the whole way.
It's hard work wherever you do it, It's cold, and we shot 29 nights in a row, and that was rough, But we're in a very tight schedule, and it helps that they're very professional here. And
he feels a great sense of responsibility to his audience, particularly with these films. And I know he didn't want to do one just for the sake of doing one.
The challenge was, because we started filming in October, we had to shoot all the night exterior stuff first, or else it was going to start snowing. So we literally hit the ground. First night, 100 zombies. Night 2, 100 zombies. Night 3, 50 zombies. It was, and we are always the first ones here and the last ones to leave. So you figure 4.5 hours before call and 2 hours cleaning up after call. We were consistently working 18-hour days. I've learned a lot of really intriguing things on this movie. One was that I can exist on 3 hours of sleep a night, which I never thought I would ever be able to do. 95% of the people on this crew took this job because they met with George, and as far as they were concerned, they wanted to do a great job for George. It wasn't about ego, it wasn't about money, it wasn't about anything. It was about, this is a man that everyone respects, that everyone loves his movies, and when you spend a few minutes with him, he's a guy that makes you want to give 150%.
I don't know if they look up to me. Sometimes I feel like Duke Wayne, hey, let's go, wagons, ho! I mean, it's more like that than anything else. I don't know if it's inspiration as much as just that sort of blind leadership. Come on, guys, let's go over here now. Right. And I'll tell you, man, I mean, the cast was just absolutely cooperative. I mean, they were out in that cold too. Nobody complained. The crew people here were just like, I mean, you know, we would never have gotten what we got without the dedication of, you know, approximately 125 people.
I mean, I have so many layers of clothing on because it's going to be fucking cold as hell.
Yes. Night shirt?
Oh.
I'm so looking forward to being sticky and cold.
I'll tell you, the funniest thing about yesterday was I'm in the production office and I'm talking to the producers and we're talking about all this, you know, this unit and that unit and this gag happened and we had to do all this stuff. And Tom walks in, so I'm like distracted and I want to jump up and just give Tom a big hug and say hi. And I look at him from the crossroom and there's blood trickling down the side of his face. And I go, Tom, what are you doing? You're bleeding. He went, oh, yeah, you know, I hit my head and I think when I mussed up my hair, so I go, let me look, and I tilt his head down. There's a hole like that big in his head. I can literally see his brain.
They sent me for stitches.
I looked in and I could see the burning, the prell. There's one area of like the old move.
My cerebrum was undulating.
And he's just standing there. I mean, you know what's funny is like seeing Tom. I knew he was so caught up in the moment of he's here.
I bled.
Like,
I just bled.
He showed out, and it's like, you know, it's been the journey to Toronto from Land of the Dead.
People expect me to bleed because you know, King of Splatter.
And the blood didn't even look real. It looked orange, like that 3M blood from Dawn of the Dead.
Well, Dick Smith made it. You know,
that's what it is.
For Francis Coppola.
There was like two guys behind him with syringes pumping the blood out of his head.
Out my pants leg.
Yeah, it was just very funny. You walk up and you go, Tom Savini's bleeding. Like most people just go, yeah, right, whatever. So
when we started this film, I wanted it to be 100% mechanical and no CGI. There are a couple of things that need to be CGI. You know, the high rise where the fat cats hang out, and that was always a fiction. So that was always slated to be a CG building because it doesn't exist. And there were a couple of places where I knew there are several scenes where we just needed more zombies than we could afford to have on the set. So we needed to tile them, you know, add more zombies in the background. It turned out that there were 2 or 3 mechanical effects that just, you could tell it was mechanical. Now, there's a certain charm to that. I mean, if I'm watching a Ray Harryhausen movie, I don't mind recognizing that it is what it is. But we worried that, you know, with today's audiences, particularly young kids that don't have any particular affection for Ray Harryhausen, might say, ooh, that looks fakey. So we wound up doing a few more things with CG to enhance those shots. But Greg and I we wanted it to be 100% handcrafted. We didn't quite get there, you know. We sort of fell short, and it's really only 2 or 3 times. The rest of the stuff is mechanical.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Hold on. Action. Come forward. Tilt the head the other way, and blammo!
Sorry, Riley, I should have seen that thing.
There are a few things, you know, a guy gets an arrow through the head. You can't, most actors won't allow you to do that to them. So, you know, there were a couple of things that also we said, well, we'll just do that CG. But they're little things, you know. Yeah. It's not like this CG extravaganza. Where I think the CG stuff, you know, you look at Van Helsing and it's like, give me a break. And it's funny, I have a 13-year-old son, and he looks at that stuff, and if it's impossible, he knows it's impossible. You know, if he sees something impossible, he knows that was impossible, and so he automatically says, that's animation. And I can see in a 13-year-old that it actually lifts him out of the movie, as much as he enjoys the spectacle.
How'd you die in the last one?
He got shot right here.
Do I really have to tell you?
He got shot right here.
Did I get shot right there?
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, because...
Do I have to tell you?
You see me get shot.
Yeah, but we just see you fall and miss the boxes and break your legs.
I fall into the fountain. That's why I got puffy eyes.
Yeah.
Because you think I stayed there for a year.
I didn't say a year. You only have to... Hey, Mr. Bloated Bodies, you need to stay not that long, and you just haven't... The water just...
Well, I have to look like the guy that I played in the original Dawn of the Dead. All he had was these. I didn't really have them. All I had was a mustache. I had to glue this on. Now it's real. Yeah.
We should light a mask up.
Start down here and go up, and let's see what it does.
It's harder than I thought it was going to be. Ow!
Okay, my dear.
I imagine so, yeah. Just be careful right there. That's where it's...
That's where your injury is? Let me see.
Right there, see it?
Move your hand.
It's not bleeding anymore, but it's still really tender.
Oh, man.
Nice gash, huh?
Oh.
Yeah, it's like... Something like that. Yeah, get this.
Man.
Get this on tape.
Oh my God. Stop it.
He's an old man.
How old are you? 60?
I'll be 60.
It's a good advertisement for 60-year-olds. Half the country be killing themselves.
I'm taking my time here.
You know, timing is everything. When I finally got a draft that I thought was presentable and sent it around, I think I sent it out like 3 days before 9/11 or something like that. And, you know, all of a sudden, 9/11, and everybody wants to make, you know, soft ice cream movies, you know, fuzzy, friendly movies.
Yeah.
So I wound up sticking it on the shelf. And about a year and a half later, and I think the film is stronger for it because it now relates, I think, more to this sort of new normal, you know, post 9/11, impressionistic view of what America is. It's people existing in a city that's protected by water, analogous to the oceans. You know, we thought we were protected by water. The administration in this high tower and everything around it is, you know, they're completely insulated, and nobody's allowed to live in the immediate surrounding area. And all the service personnel are sort of relegated to the suburbs, which in this case is a ghetto. And you must agree with policy or else you're out of here. And the protagonists are the sort of paramilitary types that have to go out and execute the policy, go out into the world and bring back supplies, fight the wars, bring back supplies. So that's my sort of fictional model of what America is right now. That's the way it feels to me anyway.
I think that one of the things that attracted me to this script so much was that it's so much about the evolution of the species, that maybe the dead have been so wrongly killed sometime that they just won't take it anymore. Kind of brings me back to when I did Caddyshack. It was like the haves and the have-nots all over again in a different way.
What is that, little keychain thing?
Keychain, yeah.
Oh, nice. Mod. Oh, I'm gonna do with you.
Should I wear that as the zombie and every now and then?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, George will love that.
It's going to be tricky to get your lenses in. But see, it's going to be glued right across her, so it's more, you know, there's some weight across your eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to keep your eyes. You feel that?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's only one night.
Well, this will keep my face warm tonight.
Totally will.
Suck it up a bit, I guess, on the way in. Or no, I need to.
very flexible.
Didn't have to. We were just.
Yeah, it's really soft foam,
Yeah,
so you should have no trouble with it.
Most valuable player.
Went to the Vatican, just started
Okay,
shooting.
there you go. How's that?
It's perfect. Look at that. Look. The earrings are gone. The earrings, gone.
Oh shit, that's great.
Yeah.
Setting up the insert so we're not loud.
See your table?
Okay, guns are hot.
Let's be.
156 Apple, take one. Hey, Mark.
Background.
Sweeney.
Cop.
Oh, yes, I did. I had a.
Well, that's going to be my whole attitude as this zombie.
Predator?
A predator, yeah. He's been around for a year and a half, right? He's mastered making this body move around, and now it's just feeding, right? So now it's looking forward to the next, which is what a predator does, right?
We'll probably be here until 1:30, but then you figure cleanup's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you want to brush out your mustache?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me just straighten up and then I can take another person.
Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Greg. Sure. Thanks for messing me up. Hey, you look at those body parts, man.
Good?
Where'd those come from?
Until they move it back.
Okay.
And background. And action jack. And 3, 2, 1. Got it. Cut.
Come up and shadow and this.
Yeah. You'll see it, right? Yeah, but put his arm up. Put your arm up. Can you see? All right. What we're going to do is we're going to rehearse with the camera, just so you see.
Yeah, and then...
Pull them in. Pull them in first, like you're gonna bite, but not so. But like that, and then toss them down.
Because I want to whack this guy.
Yeah.
In other words, it's more important for me to whack the guy than just like.
Careful up there now, Alex. All right?
It is possible.
Just so you know, George asked me to do a few looks. Let's step away. Okay, very good.
Good, thank you.
So at the very end, he's going to do a few looks, Perry, and exit camera left. That's me.
156 Charlie, take 3. Parker.
Action, Tom. Foreground. That's me.
Sorry.
Cutting.
Going again. 56 Charlie, take 4.
And action, Tom. Foreground.
Cutting.
Putting it on to a 13 back to 9.
In the former Yugoslavia in Belgrade, I used to be very famous TV host, but in Canada, I'm zombie.
If you awoke one morning to find the undead were coming back to life, what would be the first thing you would do?
You're kidding me. The first thing I would do if the dead were coming back to life is join them. Somehow, even if it meant death, you know. Hey, does this mean I can hang around forever? Terrific. Do it to me, man.